Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, all praise, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well, and as always, peace, blessings, and salutations unto the hopeful elect tabernacle of David scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now, as we get to sit back and watch, all this folly going on in Israel, seeing all these back and forths, guys, airing each other out, exposing secrets, and exposing dirt on one another. What this is really exposing is how Yahawashi was dead on. He was spot on with his assessment of those wicked, hypocritical scribes and Pharisees. When you really think about it, it be the men who scream about the law the loudest, right? Men that like to sit in Moses' seat. They like to yell, where's your fringes? They don't sin. The law, the law, the law, the Levitical priesthood, keep the commandments, wear your fringes. But just, viewing their behavior, and how they're misrepresenting the cross. Those fringes don't even mean a thing. They don't mean a damn thing to these men that claim to be of the circumcision. Put all this emphasis on the law and rocking your fringes. But when you get, rebuked and exposed in the midst of the congregation and all your dirt comes out, they don't seem to think, what good was you out there flaunting how well you keep the law when you don't keep the law. So that's what I'm, seeing, as I, look at these back and forths. This guy here, you would think that he would still be more of a, in a contrite spirit, he would be in heaviness. But this dude popped right back up with the fuckery. And you got Captain Zaryak, ISUPK, those guys. And they slinging mud everywhere. Basically thinking that the Most High is only dealing with them. The Spirit of the Lord is only with them over there. And it's a lot of skeletons over there as well. All right. So I think the Heavenly Father is spiritually, peeling back a veil, or should I say a curtain that they didn't expect that would open up. And now you're seeing all this maliciousness, all this wickedness, which the Lord said, beware of the leaven of the scribes and Pharisees. And he was talking about their maliciousness. All right. So I'm going to just grab a couple precepts because Yahawashi described his behavior perfectly. And I'm gonna go to Luke 16, and I'm gonna start at the 13th verse. And I'm gonna go to the Amplified Bible on this one. So all that, keep the law, keep the commandments, wear your fringes, miss me with all that. If y'all got all these secrets and y'all exposing each other and y'all know that y'all got dirt on one another, then why act all self-righteous? Why pretend? Where's the humility at? Why is dudes, looking to, be celebrities and seen in the same vein as these entertainers in the world that get all this praise and acclaim. So you dudes are coming back in your lot. And the Lord, he described y'all to a T, and that's why Yahawashi was hated. Because he saw right through you phonies, man. Those of you are the circumcision. So this is Luke 16, and I'm gonna start at 13. Because right here he describes how these same men, all right, that perpetrate themselves as being, righteous men, outwardly, their outward appearance. But these men, they coveted money, they love money. All right. And you can tell because even today, a lot of these Israelite camps, they like to use a lot of gimmicks. They don't think that the word being preached alone would do the job. But those gimmicks are just to actually profit them. They need to attract more people to their service and their business. And that's how they, get their money. The scribes and Pharisees, they wrote the same way. They loved money. So this is Luke 16 and 13. It says, no servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will stand devotedly by the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both the Most High and Mammon, that is your earthly possessions, or anything else you trust in or rely on instead of the Most High. Now the Pharisees, who are lovers of money, just like today, they love money, which is why everything they do centered around the gospel in the ministry, they got something to sell you. It's some sort of hustle. It says we're listening to all these things because why? And when they was hearing Yahawashi spoke, they were being cut to the heart. All right, they could feel it all through they soul that Yahawashi was cutting the hell out of them, and that's one thing this word will do. It'll cut right through you. Let's get Hebrews 4 and 12, and I'm gonna also get that in the Amplified. Yeah, let's go to Hebrews 4 and 12, and then we're gonna go right back. It says, for the word of the Most High is living and active and full of power, making it operative, energizing, and effective. It is sharper than any two-edged sword, penetrating as far as the division of the soul and spirit, to the completeness of a person. So this word will map you out. King David, which showed that he was a man of character and integrity. He asked in his songs for the Lord to test him, test his character, test his heart, his inner being. A lot of these dudes, they're not real with themselves because it's all about that image. They done built a persona for themselves, and that's what they got to hide behind. So they'll be out there, quoting 100 precepts, memorizing all kind of scriptures. All right, battling people on the street, but they're not being honest. Your camp is squeaky clean. All right, if it's not of this, if it's not of the general, then it's not of the Most High. The Most High only dwells over here in this camp. And for those of you that are listening, because some might say, well, y'all say that y'all the only ones that got the truth. We ain't never said we the only ones that got the truth. We just believe through the Spirit and through our faith that we have 100% truth. But we never said that we're the only ones with the truth or that the Most High is only dealing with us. And if you're honest, then you would agree with that. And we've always maintained that there's other sincere brothers who ain't with all the shenanigans all right, that are among these groups that eventually in due time they will remove themselves, all right, because the Lord's going to give them the spiritual discernment to be able to know that, oh, this is the voice of Yahawashi is definitely not over here. You know, the tree is known by its fruits. You know, its actions, its works. So it says, and of both joints and marrow, the deepest parts of our nature, exposing and judging the very thoughts and intentions of the heart. And that's why Yahawashi was so piercing to the soul of them wicked scribes and Pharisees, because they was faking the funk, man. All right, they would allow this when it came to the law, but they were the most lawless. You know, when it came to teaching the law, they would allow this. But when it came to performing it, they were lawless, and that's why the Lord was exhorting people. Whatsoever they bid you, that observe and do, but do not after their works, for they say and they do not. And then he proceeded to just call out their hypocrisy, curse them out, man. The whole chapter was a curse out. You brought in your the borders of your garments. You like to wear your phylacteries, but if we look a little closer, you niggas covet after money, you extort people. You got all type of sexual, basically moral impurity there that you're trying to hide in the dark, as if I don't know, because the Lord, he the Lord knew it all, man. He even knew their thoughts. So when he had encounters with them and they were trying to, act like they were holier than thou, he would say some things to get them real quiet. But right now, it's like we don't even have to say anything. These dudes are out and themselves out with all this, airing out, these secrets, that secret. It's only a matter of time, man. Because the Lord, he's showing the vileness in Israel, the insincerity. It's like when the Lord had Ezekiel look into that hole in the wall, and it was all the detestable things that the Most High hated, and that was why the Lord was going to send the death angels to go into the midst of Jerusalem and start smiting. Start with the ancients. Deal with your leadership, the priest, all these niggas, man. So anyway, going back to what Yahawashi said, and this is what he observed when he was among them. He said, this is verse 14. It says, now the Pharisees, who were lovers of money, were listening to all these things and were sneering and ridiculing him. So he said to them, you are the ones who declare yourselves just. Yeah, you proclaim that, you keep all the laws. There's no sin found in you. You got your fringes on, you have your beard. But behind that curtain, there's all type of just wickedness going on. It says, you are the ones who declare yourselves just and upright in the sight of men. But the Most High knows your hearts, your thoughts, your desires, your secrets. Right? And like what we brought out pertaining to Alazar, his situation a couple of weeks ago. And this dude, he's still showing his face like he has no shame. I'd have my head down for a minute if I was found out these things about me. I wouldn't pop back out just, just throwing all type of dirt at whoever is throwing dirt at me, I'm throwing dirt right back. That's not true contriteness, man. So you basically, you're the ones who try to portray that you're righteous, right? You're self-righteous. It says, but the Most High knows your hearts, your thoughts, your desires, your secrets. For that which is highly esteemed among men is detestable in the sight of the Most High. When it gets, real nasty, and the Lord get tired of looking at you, being exalted and everybody saying all good things about you, when you being wicked, that's when the Lord will expose you and cast you down. You got the other dude that exposed him. He getting outed by other dudes. That this dude, he has this feminist spirit on him. Some of the pictures that they was posting with the dude, he looked real zesty, man. I will say that. All right. So a lot of these dudes, they're not even in the they're not even in the boat to be trying to judge anyone. Jake got a lot to work on. Yeah, Yahawashi, when he comes back, he's trying to come back to an adorned woman that has no stain on her garment. So all this mud that's going around, hey, y'all gonna be real muddy standing before Yahawashi. So, this verse right here jumped out at me, as I was, just past week, all this, shenanigans, man, all this drama, all right, with Jake, making videos, just going in and exposing this and exposing that, a lot of gossip, some slander here, some slander there, allegations here and there. I saw some post about Johanna. He likes to sit high and mighty and talk his good game. But those allegations better not be true. I know that much. Because eventually you're gonna get found out too. People. It should be more humility in Israel. It shouldn't be all this pride. So let me go from there real quick. And let me get where is it at? Was it Proverbs 20? It is Proverbs 20:6. And it says, many a man proclaims his own loyalty and goodness, right? Like the Lord said, you or they which justify yourselves before men, right? But who can find a faithful and trustworthy man? A lot of dudes looking out for self, their own interests, their pockets. All right. A lot of dudes got the 501c3 so they can hide behind that image of, the community, that Baal Barith spirit, but doing all kind of wickedness, man. And you're really more concerned with your pockets and not with the well-being of the sheep. So all this is being exposed for a reason. And it's vexing, to have to hear it and see all of it going on, but the Most High wants us to see it. This is why Yahawashi, his circle wasn't that big. He had a small circle. He couldn't be around that. He called it out and he got out of Dodge. And even going back to King David, even though he did commit sin, but his heart was pure. All right, and he had integrity, and he was humble. And he even said this. It's Psalms 26. Yeah, I'll just read the chapter. I might as well read this chapter. It says, "Vindicate me." I'm still in the Amplified Bible. It says, "Vindicate me, O Lord Yahweh, for I have walked in my integrity. I have relied on and trusted confidently in the Lord without wavering, and I shall not slip. Examine me, O Yahweh, and try me. Test my heart and my mind. For your loving kindness is before my eyes, and I have walked faithfully in your truth. I do not sit with deceitful or unethical or worthless men. Salt without its savor, nor seek companionship with pretenders. Yelling the law super loud, but when you put your fringes on, it's like you forget about the law. You start wearing your flesh the moment you put your fringes on. And hey, that's what them wicked scribes and Pharisees, that's how they were walking. They were like a whited a whited sepulcher. They appeared beautifully outwardly to men, but inwardly they were full of what? Uncleanness, dead men's bones. It says, nor seek companionship with pretenders, self-righteous hypocrites. And with all this stuff coming out, all right. Now we already know what with the gorilla Hebrew. All right, this is what he was being when he was out there. All right, and he cried on camera, disappeared for a couple weeks, and now he's back, making videos, on his just like these rappers, they're bringing that clubhouse energy into Israel. It says, I hate the company of evildoers and will not sit with the wicked. I will wash my hands in innocence, and I will go about your altar, O Lord, that I may proclaim with the voice of thanksgiving and declare all your wonders. O Lord, I love the habitation of your house in the place where your glory dwells. Do not sweep away. It's like you do not sweep my soul away with sinners, nor sweep away my life with men of bloodshed. All right. These wolves in sheep's clothing that are more concerned with their pockets than the sheep. All right. In whose hands is a wicked scheme, and whose right hand is full of bribes. Especially if you're under that 501c3. You can't fully serve Yahawashi and teach the full doctrine. You can't do it, not under that statute. It says, but as for me, I shall walk in my integrity. Redeem me and be merciful and gracious to me. My foot stands on a level place, and in the congregations, I will bless the Lord. So this is the Most High, he just, he's pulling the curtains back and searching Jerusalem with candles. So all this dirt, all this, whatever is going on, he's highlighting it for Jake to see, so that you Jakes out there, you won't have the excuse. Now it's on you to discern who serves the Lord and who doesn't. All right. All these dudes ain't right. And you can see it. So anyway, with that, I'm going to give all honor, all praise, and glory to Yahawashi. Shalom.